Episode 9 just aired, and what an episode it was. Wanda gets her first official full-blown Scarlet Witch costume, and it looks really great. She also goes back to her creepy gestures, which she also did in Avengers Age of Ultron, making characters believe things that aren't really there. But from the episode, we learn that whoever is called the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, even more powerful than Doctor Strange. At the end of the episode, in the second post-credit scene, right at the very end, we see Wanda in a tiny cabin in front of a mountain, which is probably Mouth Wundagore, the birthplace of Wanda and Pietro. I know that people weren't that happy with what happened to Pietro in this episode, but I think they just cast Evan Peters for the role to hype up that mystery and to hype up the show behind the character. But he probably filmed his scenes within a few days. However, if it was actually Fox Pietro, that would raise way more questions than answers and would probably derail the entire plot and cause bigger implications, which is why they didn't want to address it within the show. I enjoyed the show, but I think they could have done something cool with James Spader. Maybe have Ultron's voice come out of White Vision, who just flew away at the end of the episode. So it's definitely not the last time we see him. And right before Vision disintegrates as the hex ends, he sheds a single tear, which is actually a reference to one of the most famous Vision moments in Avengers Comic 58, where he cries. During the second post-credit scene, Wanda hears the twins call out to her for help somewhere. Maybe they're still alive, but this might not be the case. There are several villains we can think of that would try to lure a powerful being like Wanda into another dangerous part of the multiverse, like Mephisto. But it's reported that the young actors who played Billy and Tommy, they filmed scenes for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in London last year, so it's not the last time we've seen them either. However, Agatha kind of explained what was happening with them. The Vision and kids were tied to the hex over Westview. To remove the hex would remove the kids and Vision. Wanda is just trying to figure out how to bring the kids and Vision back without the hex. At the end, Monica discovers her hex rewritten form can now absorb the kinetic energy of the bullets Director Hayward fires at Tommy and Billy, and it's one of the many powers she has, and she'll have to discover these new abilities, and we'll definitely see more of her in Captain Marvel 2, but we don't really know yet if she's going to call herself Spectrum or Photon. We'll definitely see Wanda again in Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and this was actually referenced in the show, where Oz the Great and Powerful, a film directed by Sam Raimi, it was actually playing in the theatre, so that's quite a cool hint to Sam Raimi in the future. There were a few people disappointed with the episode finale, and I was sort of one of them. Pietro, or Ralph as we now know him, it was a bit of a wasted opportunity with his character. They could have tied him into the Foxverse, but Wanda's suit reveal at the end was stunning to watch, and the mid and after credit scene hyped up her character in future Marvel projects. I really enjoyed the idea of Vision winning a battle against another Vision using the philosophy in the most Vision-y thing imaginable. The character is very powerful, but the most interesting character aspects are always his internal struggles, thoughts, and even his self-identity, which is him learning about humanity and progressing as a computer. And I really enjoyed how they showed that in the episode. The show really succeeded with the television homages at the start of the show, which was a mystery about the entire world, and it exploited Wanda's character beautifully. But the finale was a lot about physical conflict, which I thought was the weakest part of the episode, but the ascension of Wanda and the final goodbyes of all the characters was really, really well done. Looking back at it, at the start of the show, I had no idea what was happening, but I was intrigued by the first episode and also confused in the second, and quite annoyed in the third, if you can look back at that. But everything was starting to pick up in a really good way when we were introduced to Storm, and going through the different decades of TV was really interesting to watch. But overall, I did really enjoy the way they explored Wanda's grief and how she dealt with her loss. But I wish that Agatha had been dealt with in the second last episode, so that the finale could focus on Wanda dealing with her own inner demons, which is what the series was about from the start. And I've seen that the finale has got quite a lot of criticism because of all the unanswered questions about Pietro and White Vision, but it will age well in my books. and many of the seeds planted in this series will blossom in Phase 4 storylines in the years to come.